Well, Senator Corker, first, thank you for convening this hearing. I know we'll have others dealing with the security in the Middle East, and I join you in encouraging these hearings, because I think we need to understand that we've been concentrating for the last, I guess, 2 months on Iran and the Iran nuclear agreement, which is what we should have done. But we also understand that the other preeminent threat tearing at the fiber of the Middle East is ISIL, and that we need to concentrate on its battle and what it's doing in the Middle East. I know Iran will be part of that discussion, as it should, but I do look forward to hearing from our witnesses. As we turn to Syria, Iraq, and the fight against ISIL, it's important that we acknowledge Iran's malicious role in undermining stability. Iran, along with its proxies, is preventing political processes, reconciliation, and inclusive governments in both countries. Iran may share the short-term tactical goal of defeating ISIL, but I see no room for broader cooperation until and unless Iran commits to a Syria without Assad, and Iraq that is governed in a representative and federal manner. Over the past several weeks, we have been haunted and shocked by the images of Syrian refugees seeking a better life in Europe. We read that the Iraqi citizens, seeing their Syrian neighbors successfully receive a welcome reception in some European countries, have undertaken this treacherous and uncertain journey themselves to search of safety and opportunity. And these crises have generated enormous burdens on neighboring countries, including Turkey, Jordan, and Lebanon. Syrian and Iraqi citizens are losing hope that conditions in their country of origin will improve anytime soon. This is a dire situation with frightening consequences for future generations of the citizens of the Middle East, as well as for stability and success in the region. Mr. Chairman, as you know, our refugee displaced number globally is around 60 million today, coming very close to the number of displaced people at the end of World War II. And it's increasing at an alarming rate. It's not getting better, it's getting worse. In 1 week alone, in April 2015, 1,000 people perished by 2 separate shipwrecks. It's dangerous, and people are losing their lives. In Syria, over 50% of the people of Syria have left their homes. Lebanon, a country of 4.2 million, has taken in 1.2 million Syrian refugees, 30% of their population. Give you an equivalent U.S. number, it'd be like us taking in 100 million refugees. And we have to recognize it's going to cause a huge problem of stability in that region. So yes, Mr. Chairman, I agree with you completely. We have to deal with the root causes, but we also have to deal with the humanitarian crisis and help save lives. And the United States, I think, is uniquely qualified to provide that type of international leadership, and we should be in the leadership. We should, as this committee, should help in the leadership of our country in dealing with that challenge. Today's hearing is a welcome opportunity to step back and assess the big picture. Are we making progress in degrading ISIL, and how are we measuring that progress? We hear promising reports from our coalition of military leaders about territory seized from ISIL and numbers of airstrikes. But our effectiveness in combating the ISIL threat cannot be measured alone in the number of sorties flown, bombs dropped, or foreign fighters stopped, or size of territory reclaimed. What would it ultimately take for us to defeat ISIL? The Obama administration's anti-ISIL strategy includes military airstrikes and building up local ground forces, complemented with countering the other sources of ISIL strength, cutting off its financing, interdicting foreign fighter flows, and undermining its propaganda machine. It's a sound strategy. How's it working? I commend the Obama administration for its dedication in building a truly global coalition committed to the anti-ISIL fight. I believe the United States has a critical and necessary leadership role to play in helping to combat ISIL and restoring stability to the region. But large-scale U.S. forces at this time, in this complex political and military atmosphere, would at the end of the day decisively increase the prospect of losing the war against ISIL by increasing instability, making U.S. forces a magnet of violent extremists, and distorting the prospect for sustainable local solutions. So I look forward to engaging our witnesses today on U.S. policy for Iraq and Syria outside of the fight against ISIL, and how we're using our diplomatic strength, assistance, and military support to increase the prospects of a lasting and local political solutions. In Iraq, this will require leaders willing to take bold steps beyond party, ethnic, and religious interests. It will mean implementing Prime Minister Abadi's bold reform agenda. It means building up Iraqi forces willing to fight for all Iraqis and encouraging political reconciliation, power sharing, and economic resiliency. In Syria, we must reinvigorate a plan for Assad's exit. Assad's barrel bombs continue to drop, and it has been clear to many of us for some time that Syria will never be stable and at peace if our strategy focuses on ISIL alone. How can we galvanize a political process that can enable all Syrians, regardless of their ethnicity, sect, or faith, to live in peace and security? That's our challenge, and I look forward to hearing from our witnesses as we get better prepared as to how the United States can provide the leadership necessary for stability in that region.